Welcome, supers, back for another Business React. No, Business Geeks podcast. I don't know what show I'm on at this point. I am quite loopy as our co-hosts have been showing us prior as well. It's great to be here. Jennifer Crawford of Sparent.co. How are you doing today?
Doing fine and dandy. Thank you for asking.
Oh, you're so welcome. Samantha, how are things down in the future?
Down in the future, things are great. Good to be here, and great that we've got the music back. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here. We're streaming in a bunch of different places right now, as well as over on Entra. Join Entra.com. So I'm Super Joe Pardo, and today we are going to be talking about a question that came up about servicing our customer base through tumultuous times.
Voluptuous.
Is that a word?
Voluptuous.
It should be a word because it sounds
should
like
be. I'm
trouble
liking it.
with like appetite or food. But I think you're looking for tumultuous.
Yes, that word that I'm not going to say again.
No. I don't know. I kind of like that word.
I couldn't even say it again if I tried. Voluptuous.
Trouble with food that tastes good.
Delicious, yes. The question came in that said, I'm not able to service my customers fast enough, and they are leaving. I'm estimating about 30% of my customers are not even coming. This is in the food industry, which is dealing with a lots of issues from getting their food to be able to cook, to getting drivers to be able to deliver them, to making it so that the food does not cost an arm and a leg, so that people don't come back to enjoy.
It's a problem. Yes, it is.
It's a massive, far-reaching problem.
For solution.
It is an opportunity as well.
Yes, every problem is an opportunity. Yes.
And we do have the two best Tims in podcasting here today, in Tim Bryan and Tim Gillette. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Business Geeks.
Can we call them the Tim Possibles?
The Tim, yes,
Ooh,
we can.
I like it.
I like it as well.
I hope the Tim Possibles like it too.
Absolutely. If I feel left out because I'm not a Tim.
We need more. This room needs more Tims. What can I say? Okay. So the question today is, yes, hashtag Tim Possibles. So we here in the States have been dealing with lots of shortages, lots of price increases, inflation. The inflation report that came out yesterday proved to show that not just one or two or three or five or 10 sectors of the economy have inflated in pricing, but across almost every industry has shown inflation here in the States. And before we go any further, my question to you, Sam, is Australia feeling the same pain that we are?
Now, I wasn't prepared for this question, so everything here is not... It's just my own perspective. I haven't researched this, so I'm not sure in all the sectors, but I can tell you in real estate, it's gone absolutely crazy. I don't know what it's like there in real estate, but our rents have gone through the roof. Our sales prices have gone through the roof. There was an apartment just 2 blocks from us that sold a couple of weeks ago for $5.3 million. It's an apartment. It's an apartment, people. $5.3 million. It's not a penthouse.
Not a penthouse.
And I was just like, oh, okay. So, and there's, it's displacing a lot of people. So what's happening is the people are moving from the cities into the more regional areas. That's pushing the rents up there, which means those people can't afford to stay in the regional areas. There's people living, I've read stories about people having to go move back in with parents, going to live in cars, and how long can this be sustained and what's going to happen? So that's what's happening here.
Wow, that is definitely a domino effect, a chain reaction. Perfect example of that.
Mm.
Well, I feel bad for people living in their cars. That's
Oh, absolutely.
not feeling
It's
Yeah.
good.
not good, and like we can't sustain that. Like where do
No.
people go? Yeah.
Where do people go? That is a great question. And we that is something that we've had issues here in the States. There was a video I was watching where they were talking about, or they were looking at houses, like, what does $1 million get you? And they were looking all over the world in that video. And like in Toronto, it's like a little more than a shed. And like for $1 million, like, congratulations, you made $1 million. Here's a shed. Like,
Yeah.
it absolutely is insane. In some areas more than others, right? A $5.3 million
I think in
dollar.
I think in Sydney, $1 million would get you probably a cubby house in someone's backyard. I'm thinking right now. I
Yeah.
don't even know what. Yeah, it's just.
How does
insane.
anybody afford to work there? Like for like to getting back to the restaurant, right? The restaurant business. How do they afford to have anybody that lives in Sydney work in Sydney?
Well, this is a question or this is something that Leon and I were talking about just last night over dinner, is that some of these, like lower paid jobs that we absolutely need. We need people in the service industry, picking up our rubbish. We need, these people that are in supermarkets. We have to have these people. And in Sydney, there's people that are traveling over 2 hours to come and do these service type roles because they can't afford to live near, where this is. But on a minimum wage, why do you want to be spending like 4 hours a day just commuting? Like that,
Oh,
there's no
exactly.
quality of life there.
Well, and you wonder why there's a labor shortage, because those things are happening in the US too. The major cities are having the exact same problem. The people that work there can't afford to live there, and they actually can't really afford to commute either because commuting is expensive.
Exactly.
So these are complex problems, Joe. I don't know. You came out of the gate, and I feel like I need to be an economist.
I was going to say, no research here, by the way.
I'm like, this is just, I have none of those credentials whatsoever. But I will tell you anecdotally that I remember way back in the day, and I'm 51, so keep that in mind. You used to be able to graduate college and get a job, and that job would in most cases a college educated person could get a single family home. And then it was you graduated college and you could get a job and you could afford a townhouse. And then it was you graduated college and you could afford to get a condo. Now you graduate college and you move into your parents' basement. So,
exactly.
so the problem is so complex because real estate is simply supply and demand. So I don't actually fault the real estate so much, but our salaries have not kept pace with
not
inflation.
even
The only people's salaries who has been the top 1%. The executives, the CEOs, the fat cats have gotten fatter. So their salaries have more than kept pace. But the middle class has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. So this is my non-economic expertise, and I'm not gonna share anymore because I'm afraid I'm about to stick my foot in my mouth because
No, but you've got a very valid
No.
point. It's not the same as what it used to be. Like our kids, it is a very, very different world, and it even is for all of us. I was talking to my daughter about home deposits the other day. The amount that you need to pull together for a deposit is, if you're starting from scratch, it's almost not going to happen. Oh, it's almost impossible. So all of my friends that are my age, and I'm only a couple years younger than you, Jen, they have got into the property market because their parents helped them with their deposit. That's
Right.
our age. Our kid, our kids are, if parents helped their kids with the deposit, then those parents are then able to help their kids. It's like a rolling, but
generational wealth. Yeah.
Exactly. Not able to do it. Yeah.
I don't know how to. I love talking about this, but it's so frustrating because I don't know how to fix it, and I'm just naturally like I want to fix it, and I'm sure you guys feel the same. And I don't know the answers, and I know there's no single answer. It is an onion that has many layers. Um, what do you think, Joe? I feel like
So
you've got answers, like you're ready to
Yeah,
pick
I
you
could
a
give
you
big
you
yeah.
one.
some. I could give you some insight. I can't give you all the answers, but
Okay.
basically, from my understanding, and obviously, I'm not an economist either, but my understanding is that in going back to like the 50s was the time before real estate became an investment. When housing was like, oh, and I was literally just talking with my neighbor who's probably in his mid 60s at this point. I don't know, I might be dating him a little older than he is, but he was saying like, I got out, I knew all the builders of all the houses I ever owned, and when I bought my first house it was $10,000, and obviously inflation has changed what the value of $10,000 meant and means and all that. But the fact of the matter is as people utilized housing as an investment and bought more than one house, right? And they were able to grow, and all of a sudden, the value of houses and the wages decoupled. It wasn't like, oh, you bought a
Right.
house and like, okay,
Yeah.
in 30 years or 15 years, you'll be able to pay that $10,000 off. It's just like, the way the value of those houses started to get pushed up as people bought up more houses to be able to rent out and things of that nature. So supply and demand was at play. And then you couple inflation with that, where it's like, some of my neighbors, bought their houses here in my neighborhood in the 70s. So, they had mortgages that were like $25,000. And like by the time I bought the house, it was like $200,000. So, obviously that was 30 years later that I came in, but that's still a 4x amount. And now we've had an crazy amount of money added on top of the values of the houses that we have out there in such a short period of time, that it really balloons up the idea of being able to even own a house. Which is depressing. So I think all this kind of I know we were kind of talking around the topic of, okay, I have a business. I am turning business away because we can't get the food to cook. We can't get the help to cook it. We can't get the help to deliver it. Even one a story out of Chicago, I think it was a pizzeria that had to close on a Sunday of all days during the NFL season because
That's
he just
pizza
did not
day.
have the help. Yeah, he didn't have the
Sunday's
help.
pizza day.
They know that in
Wow.
Australia. So
Yeah. I mean, I think the
it's
writing is on the wall. I think that unfortunately or fortunately, there's a couple ways to look at this. I think a lot of these lower paying jobs are going to be replaced with automation, technology, robotics, AI. And, we're going to lose a lot of people in those jobs. Now, what my hope would be, more jobs, different jobs, would open up and we'd be able to provide, even if it was through the government's assistance, some training and get people displaced from those jobs into better paying jobs. This does not happen overnight, though. So I think what we're seeing is the beginning of that process. I went to Panera before the pandemic. I went into Panera, and on one side there were a couple of cashiers taking orders. On the other side were computers where you could just walk up and boop 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 get your order. Well, I boop 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 booped because it was quicker and easier. I was in a hurry, I didn't feel like peopling. But I also was like, well, these people are staring at their replacements, right? Like the people are staring at, and there's just we're not gonna. The train has left the station. And now with the supply shortages and the great resignation, and that's a wonderful, complex topic in itself. I think it's just, it's speeding up this foregone conclusion.
Agreed.
And I know you don't like it, Joe. I know you don't like it. I know you don't like it. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing in the long run. I don't think it's a bad thing.
What we're
Because
witnessing is
nobody
some
wants to
massive
work
change.
these jobs. Nobody loves these jobs. These are not great jobs to have. Anyway, it might be somebody's job, and I'm not taking away their value. Gosh, like what would we have done during the
Oh,
pandemic if the grocery store
exactly.
employers didn't show up? But if the companies are not willing to pay them based on value as opposed to skill, and they're not willing to pay them based on the value that they provide. They're only willing to pay on skill. Then they're going to leave those jobs, and they're going to have to invest that money instead of people. They're going to invest it in the technology to replace those people. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm seeing it happen. It's happening now.
Well, it's been happening. That isn't
Yeah,
just
it's been
a
happening.
2000s thing. I mean, plenty of technology has come out pre 2000s that
I
have,
agree. I
I
agree.
mean, self checkout, right? And even now,
Uh-huh.
Amazon is opening up their own stores, and you won't have to wait in line. Like I was standing in line at a Best Buy yesterday, 2 days ago, or something like that. And I mean, there was like 4 people there, but they for whatever reason every single person had a complicated issue for checkout, and it was literally a backup. And I'm just like, the irony that where I was standing, there was a wall of Amazon Fire Stick TVs, like the actual 32-inch TVs right there next to me, and I'm like, Amazon is literally staring me in the face right now with their own stores where I just pick up the thing and I walk out the store, and they charge me for it. They are literally the answers is staring all of them in the face, and they're selling the answer at that point. So it is difficult. I like people to be able to work, but I also want
Absolutely.
people to be valued, and I want people to, and that's why, like, on what I do, the entrepreneurs on my show, outside of the show, and I cover those topics of like the union strikes and things of that nature, because I think it's important that these companies do right by their people, especially in times where they're making record profits
Right,
by
exactly. It's not like
coincidentally. Like,
it's not like they don't
Yeah.
have the money to pay people. They just refuse to because they're beholden to their shareholders. Now, I'm speaking about the big companies, not small businesses, because I think we have
Yeah,
to
totally.
set those
I think
aside, set them
that's
aside.
Yeah, totally. I actually really like what Jen said before about value versus skill. And I think that this is something that people have up until this point not looked at, but we need to, because all of a sudden these unskilled jobs that we're saying, well, they've got no skill. Well, if no one wants to do them, like what's the first we all need to eat, right? We
Right.
all need to eat. We all need to be doing
it's the evil. It's what was it? The greatest evil is not root of all evil is not money. It's food. We don't need money.
Wow, I
We
haven't
can't
heard
eat
that, but
food.
that's so true.
We don't need
Yeah.
food. We can survive without money, but we need food to
We need food.
literally
Absolutely.
keep going.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean-
our own government classified Target workers, grocery store workers as essential employees.
Yeah, here as well.
during
And
right.
We had
But we're not willing to pay them.
all of us when we went into the pandemic. I know the grocery stores, they were the jobs that people wanted first. So they were hiring the pilots. They were hiring flight hostesses. They were hiring those people that had lost their jobs in the pandemic. Yet we say that's not a valuable job. And where did all those people end up? Super
Right.
interesting topic.
Mm-hmm.
Man, didn't we get off
Absolutely.
onto a
not at
different
all.
tangent very quickly?
Okay. All right. Let's bring it back, because there is plenty more to talk. I mean, we've been off for a year effectively, so there is plenty more to talk about. But getting back to the question, I have a restaurant business, and my restaurant business is turning away 30%. What we estimate 30% of our business, because we are just not able to serve them, and in a timely manner, where they're showing up and there's a line out the door or wrapped around the building, and we cannot serve them. What are we supposed to do? Like, technology is only going to fix that problem so much, and there's only so many people we can hire, because we can only afford so much. Number one, whether it's amount of people or the amount of people we're paying, they can only be so productive. Period. There is a limit. There's a what's that term? Return The law of
Diminishing
diminishing
returns.
returns. Yeah, there's a law of
Diminishing returns.
I mean, the restaurants that we have are only so big, so we can only have so many people working in them unless we like physically make them bigger. But there's a land space problem with that as well, and money and time and all that. So what can they do to help fix the problem in the short term to help capture more of that 30% that's literally never, they're just like pulling in and they're out, or they're just like, I'm just going to keep driving.
Yeah. Well, I disagree
and next
with you,
time
Joe.
they won't pull in, right?
Right. Exactly.
Maybe.
I disagree with you, Joe, that only like technology will only take you so far. Actually, I don't think that we have.
I was saying about people. I'm sorry. Let me clarify that. I was saying that people, like adding people, will only take you so far. There's a law of diminishing return because of the constraints of the size of the kitchen, the size of the rest, like
got it.
Things like that. Sorry.
Yeah, well, because I was thinking, because I read this article about this problem, and so it's a problem faced by a lot of fast food restaurants, in particular the drive-through, right? So they're losing a lot of time, and I hate the drive-through because I hate talking into that box and having to repeat myself, and they're losing so much time right there. So there's a company or companies that make these like RFI readers that you just like put in your car, and stores your like regular orders, and so your order is placed without talking to anybody, right? And then you just drive through and you pick up. So there's and you can pay and all of that. So there's a lot of efficiency still left to capture that I don't think they've captured yet, and I don't think that expenditure would be crippling.
You wouldn't even because they're going to need the chip, though. I mean, you literally could just have your phone. I mean, your phone has an NFC.
Don't you have the apps
that
just
like wave your phone? I mean, that's what the app. They have apps to order.
We order by apps.
But you gotta download the app, and it's not. Depending how many menu items there are, like it can be kind of tricky to like get through those things. Like in Jen's example of the Panera Bread, like using their app. I know my dad is like wanted to throw his phone against the wall many a times ordering through that app because it would like lose the order. It would or like reset the order, and things like that would happen quite often apparently.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What's Panera's?
They make armpit sandwiches.
Sorry, the Australian has no. Okay.
All the sandwiches taste like armpit. Every single one. They're all like a Subway kind of thing for you. It's better than Subway, but they're all armpit sandwiches.
It's that kind of thing.
It's like a fast casual. I forget, Sam. You look like us. You seem like us, but you're so.
She's in the future. The Panera Bread clearly doesn't exist in the future.
There's no Paneras in the future. Actually, there's not a lot happening here in the future.
Good to know. Oh my Lord.
In this little country town of Australia.
She's special. So special.
Seriously, when I went to, how funny was it when we visited Joe and you were telling us about like hoagies and you were telling us about all this stuff, and Leon and I are like, what are you talking about? Huh?
Hoagies are essential.
We know what they are now.
Food item to the American culture. Well, at least in the Northeast.
They haven't made it to the Australian culture.
We
just have sandwiches.
All right.
Sorry. Okay. Please continue.
Yes, Joe, share with us your insights into this problem.
Well, so to me, the thing is looking at like, you got to get hard and fast with the what sells, what doesn't sell, what takes the most amount of time, and put it into a pie chart so you can start or a graph and be like, okay, look, do we like to sell the salads? Cool. Well, do the salads take the most time to prepare? Maybe, because our salads are actually prepared like by a person. It's not just like reaching in and like making a giant batch and then doing it. So it's things like that where it's like if you could take that person, because again you're working with a size, a people limit, a size of space limit, all these like different restrictions. So any space where you could take somebody out of and have that space, instead of preparing one thing, preparing another thing that actually sells more efficient and more, to me is something that gets it going. And I'll tell you, one of the best movies, and I know Sam, I don't know if you've seen this movie, but The Founder, all
I
about
love that
McDonald's.
movie.
Yeah,
Love
like
it.
literally the scene, like I gushed over the scene where he goes out to the basketball court and was like drawing, or I guess it was a
I know.
driveway or basketball court, and he's like drawing
No, I think it was a court.
chalk. Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's like
yeah.
chalking the whole kitchen out on there to decide like what's the fastest way to make make a delivery of food to a person. And and it's things like that it's like maybe you need to, check the ego and go back to the drawing board and see, like, is this really working? Is it really that efficient? Are people crossing over one another? And I mean, I've seen fast food restaurants here where it's like they have tents set outside for people to be able to take the orders. Like,
Yeah.
but you can only process so many orders, and it still comes to, like, there's still things that just not super, there's still like Jen said, there's still efficiency to be captured. And the apps are great, but and it might sound like a boomer or something saying this, but like I kind of prefer to talk to somebody rather than ordering through an app with the food, unless the food, like, unless you get the food options so far down where it's like, we have burgers, we have French fries, and what drink do you want with that? And like that's it. Like that's the three, the three things. Like
I do not have these app problems that you have. I find
clearly
most apps, particularly chain apps or big company apps, I find them very well made. The UI very very intuitive, and I am not I'm not a technical like wizard like you are, Joe. And it's not that I hate people, but these
no,
aren't
you
my,
do. Come on,
they're not my friends.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hang on,
Come
Jen.
on.
Like,
I hate people. I like people, but I don't need to. Not everybody's my friend or needs to be my friend. So I don't necessarily need to deal with people if I'm just grabbing a coffee. That could be done seamlessly without any people interaction, and that's okay. I don't think anybody's life is being my life's not being degraded in any way because of that. I think the biggest sin of all is, losing 30% of business. That is, I mean, your customers aren't happy and you're not, making the money that you should be making as a business.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah, I would be going back exactly like you said, Joe, going back, having a look. What's not selling so great off the menu? What's, what's
and not forever, right? Not forever.
Yeah.
This isn't
well,
like, oh no,
knows?
we will never have, the mac and cheese option again. Just right now, it takes up too much space, and we can't afford that extra waste of efficiency.
Yeah. What do you think about this, Joe?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Sam.
No, it's all good.
Okay. Yeah.
You're good.
What would you say? Okay, so say this is not the restaurant we're talking about. I think we're just talking in general. But if you look at McDonald's, so they famously have the soft serve cones and they're known for it. And I know people go to McDonald's just to get this ice cream, right? But they're also like something ridiculous percentage of those machines are always broken. So what would you do if you have a product that people love, but it is tanking your productivity? Oh, I hear that.
I
don't want to hyperventilate anybody.
Because do you know what I did? I just looked at the time and went, are we still going to be recording in 3 hours?
Oh.
Oh my! Well, if you need a break, we've got some great comments here. Tim says Taco Bell, he orders online because they have so many options, and the drive-through letters are too small. But local shops, I go in person, talk with the owners. Oh, that's a good point. I do like the local people.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a great comment. Back to my question.
I think it is the same answer. Is you need to go back to the drawing board and see what's not working so that you can reallocate that efficiency to make sure. Now the ice cream
You're taking
machine
away the
thing.
ice cream. You're taking away the ice
No, no, no,
cream.
no, because people love the ice cream. People
But
love the ice cream, but the problem is the machines. And there's a whole. Have you read the
thing.
articles about the machines? There's a
I've read
whole
some of
thing
them.
about the machines.
The whole thing, yeah.
They're overly complicated because they're supposed to be like quote unquote self cleaning, even though they're not really self cleaning. You actually have to take them apart and clean them. And maybe you could speak to some of this, Sam. I don't know if they had all that when you worked there, but that's part of the problem is they have all these certain parts that break very easily. They're very small, and everything has to come out of the machine and be cleaned. And that's one of the reasons why like soft serve offers you the best opportunity to get sick, because people don't clean the machines, and that's part of the problem. But I think that's also one of the reasons why Wendy's doesn't do a dairy-based frozen treat. They do the Frosty because it doesn't. I think the machine is more simpler and doesn't have the same issues that of being cleaned in the same fashion. So maybe it's an opportunity to look for a different recipe that the new Coke, if you will, that will get completely pooped on.
Or just come up with a brand new soft serve machine and sell them to all the McDonald's.
So they have a contract. So that's the problem is the contract
yeah.
stands in the way of being able to do that, and that's the battle. And actually, I forget, somebody proposed, I think the idea that maybe the soft serve machine is complicated intentionally for that service contract, but also
potentially.
Because I can't remember. There was a reason why it's better for it to be broken than not work. Or it's not even that it doesn't work. It's just that they didn't want to clean it, so they didn't clean it, so they're not using it.
Wow.
Yeah, see here you just would not get away with not cleaning it. Like that's just in Australia. That's
that sounds great.
no.
Love it.
But they are very complicated machines, and yes, I have pulled them apart thousands of times.
All right, so we have speeding up the drive-through through technology. We have taking out the inefficient items on the menu, like the low sellers and the high time cost items. Sam, I know you have something to say about this.
Well, I was also going to say, wouldn't you look at where the money's coming from? So there might be something that's got a really low cost to make and something that's got a higher cost. I'd be looking at all of the numbers and just going, that takes too long. That's gone. Whether it's for now or and here's the thing, you said not forever, Joe, but maybe all of a sudden, if they start making a huge amount of profit, then maybe that's the new menu. Like, you don't know. But I would be taking it off anything that takes too long, taking away anything that doesn't sell so well. And I'd also be looking at where are my highest profit items, and they are the ones that I'd be keeping on the menu.
Brilliant. What about
that's how you get that's how you get to the limited time offers. Right? Oh, our mac and cheese is back for the for the season, and all of a sudden, like, you got to run on mac and cheese.
Everyone wants it.
Everyone wants it, right? Even though it was like, it was okay. We ordered it once in a while, or something to that effect. Unless you're Wendy's and you serve you're the only one that serves chili, and that's as a byproduct of all the waste meat and things that you have that you've made everything else with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another thing making this problem even a bigger problem that I've seen. So every morning I go to Pete's and get my coffee. And it used to be that if you wanted coffee, you walked into the coffee shop and you ordered. There's one line, but now there's 3 lines. There's the people in the store in line. There are the personal individualized mobile orders. And then there's the Grubhub orders or the DoorDash orders so essentially this business now has 3 lines that they're going through, which I think just compounds the same problem, is that we've made it so easy to get and order food, but haven't also made it equally as easy to get it out there to the customers.
Yeah, it definitely and then it creates a people traffic thing too, having more cars come in that aren't staying or going into the drive-through, as well as people coming literally through the door, which creates another headache of foot traffic.
I do need to say For any restaurant or food chain that's listening, the Business Geeks are open for consultation.
Yeah.
We're available.
and taste testing.
Yes.
And taste testing.
I mean, you might as well get your money's worth out of us, right?
We just need
Absolutely.
to we need to try and make sure it's okay.
Absolutely. So all right, so we need to wrap this episode up here. Was there any final thoughts either of you had before we move on real quick?
Nothing smart's coming to mind, Joe.
No. No.
No. Okay. All right. So I had one cool thing real quick. I recently switched over from all the Amazon Echoes that we had in our house, which is quite a few of them actually, to the Apple HomePod. And I didn't love it at first, but the more I use it, the more I actually love it. The more, because I'm an iPhone user, it actually makes a lot of sense. And it actually is a lot easier to navigate than the Echoes. I will say the one downside that had my daughter crying the other night because she loves her Alexa in her room is there's no app support. So she couldn't have her Disney stories or Minecraft stories be read to her through an app that you can install on the Echoes. And so that was one big downside, but really, like my wife Melissa and I were looking at each other. I'm like, she hasn't used those in so long. Like she just listens to music like all the time at this point. So it does the same thing and has all that. So I really didn't think I was going to like it as much. My friend Mike, he was kind of giving me the push to get rid of the Echoes because he got rid of his Echoes like a year ago. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to have to switch to a whole new system and all that. But the app, the HomeKit app on the phone is so much easier to use. And it's just such a easier design. And in some ways, it's easier to talk to to Siri than it is to Alexa.
I thought you were going to say it was easier to talk to Siri than your wife.
Oh, no.
It just sounded like that was the beginning. Or it was easier to talk to Siri than,
Well, he talks through Siri to his wife. I know that. Siri, ring Mrs. Pardo.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Well, that's one of the. So that's one key thing is Siri knows your voice. So Siri can like unlock, like when I say like good morning, it knows to undo our Ring alarm system. Whereas with the Echo, you had to give a passcode to do that. So then you're like saying your passcode out loud, but we're in our bedroom with nobody, it's not like we walk into the house and do it. There's a keypad there for that. But yeah, it's just little things like that just make things so much easier. And being able to move music around the house without having to use a separate app or just basically do like a pull down on the iPhone is so much nicer. And now we have music in the house a lot more often now than we did with the Echoes. Not that it was hard on the Echoes, but it was just like it wasn't as easy to control and send around to the whole house.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think there are a lot of people that are going to be working on their Joe Pardo impression.
what, like this or
if it recognizes your voice, I mean, it gives a lot of power over your house. So you just need to nail that impression.
Yes, to undo the alarm. Anyway, who had a take my lunch money this week?
Oh, I think I did. I know we need to wrap up. We recently at Sparent worked with a great team of website designers, Design Powers. You can check them out at designpowers.com. Women-owned and led company. They were so not just their design expertise, but their branding and marketing expertise. It was just such a joy working with them, and I highly recommend them and their process. It was efficient and amazing all at the same time. So,
and can I say your new branding and your new website is beautiful. So Design Powers, it is so slick. They've done a brilliant job. Yeah. Whoever Design Powers are, I think you're great.
No, they took a lot of my lunch money, but it was totally worth it.
They did. I was actually
multiple lunch monies.
a lot of lunches and some dinners too.
I was just on your site yesterday, Jen, and we got to talk after we get done here.
Why?
Because I have somebody that I think might be able to use your services.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
It sounded so like.
I thought you were going to
No.
say no. This
There's
is
a broken link.
That's not working.
No. It's great. It's great looking. We do have to give a shout out to
Our show sponsor, yourpodcastconcierge.com, who is looking after our podcast. Looking after it so that we don't have to do anything except turn up and be the talent, which I think sometimes is a bit negligible in itself.
Well, he does such a, they do such a good job at your podcast concierge that I almost forget that we have a podcast because I have to do so little for it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it is all done, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got a podcast, but I feel like I barely have one because I barely have to do anything.
We know how much work that goes into it.
Is it? Oh, I know.
So nice. So nice.
Is. Yeah. Thank you, Leon.
Yes, thank you, Leon. You're rocking it.
Thanks, babe.
Well,
I had to say it, didn't I, Joe?
Yes, you did. You absolutely did. You absolutely did. This episode of Business Geeks is over, unfortunately, but it's not over if you want to go and listen to our back catalog over at businessgeekspodcast.com. If you have a question about your business that you need help with, or you want to consult with us, go send an email over to I don't know what our emails were. Just go to businessgeekspodcast.com. There's a contact button there. You can reach us there as well. And I hope you have all an amazing day, an amazing week ahead. And we'll see you next Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Time, Eastern Daylight Time.
Yeah.
Eastern Daylight Time. Take care, everybody. See you next week.